Welcome to Math TV with Professor V. In this video, we're going to look at testing whether or not an infinite series is convergent or divergent, and we're going to determine what's the best test to use. So if you need to revisit any of the tests for convergence or divergence, go to my YouTube channel on the Calc 2 video lectures playlist. They're all there, and I'll link them all in the description box below. But let's just jump in, assuming now that you are familiar with all the tests that we have, and decide which one to use when. So first series we have here, and we're just determining whether or not the series converges or diverges, is the sum n equals 1 to infinity of n squared minus 1 over n cubed plus 1. So to get an idea of what is going on, I like to just look at the highest power of the variable in the numerator and denominator. And looking here, I've got n squared in the numerator, n cubed in the denominator. That ratio simplifies to 1 over n. And what do we know about the sum, n equals 1 to infinity of 1 over n? That's the harmonic series. It's divergent. That one's just a known one. It's so famous it got its own name. So if the harmonic series diverges and it looks like the terms here are growing or shrinking at the same rate basically as the harmonic, then this series probably diverges as well. So what are our options for showing that? Integral test. I'm not in the mood to integrate this guy. Doesn't look nice. You could do direct comparison. We would have to show that the terms of this series are larger than the terms of the harmonic series. And this plus 1 and minus 1 aren't going to let us do that. So let's just opt for the limit comparison test instead. And a lot of students like that limit comparison better than direct comparison anyway. So have at it. I'm going to set things up and say, okay, let's let Bn equal 1 over n. That's the terms of the series which I'm going to compare mine to. And then remember, we take the limit as n approaches infinity of an over bn. So let me clue you all in. We're going to use the limit comparison test. Okay, remember for limit comparison test, the results will be basically telling us that both series behave the same way as long as the limit is a finite non-zero number. Okay, so here we go. We've got the limit as n approaches infinity, an terms of the original series n squared minus 1 over n cubed plus 1 over 1 over n. And then let's clean this up. So we've got the limit n approaches infinity. If I divide by 1 over n here, that's equivalent to multiplying by n over 1. And so now we have n cubed minus 1 over n cubed plus 1. No L'Hopital's rule, because these terms here are not differentiable, right? So instead, to compute this limit, I'm going to divide numerator and denominator by n cubed. And then let's see what we got going on now. So this is the limit. N approaches infinity. In the numerator, we're going to have 1 minus 1 over n cubed. And in the denominator, 1 plus 1 over n cubed. And then as n approaches infinity, 1 over n cubed, that'll go to 0, 0 down here as well. So all that we have left is 1 over 1, which is 1. And what do I care about that limit? I care that it's finite, okay, and non-zero. So what does that tell me? That tells me that our series does the same thing as the series to which we compared it. So since the harmonic series diverges, that means ours does as well. So summarize, always rewrite the original. Why not? You know what I mean? Be thorough. Sum n equals 1 to infinity n squared minus 1 over n cubed plus 1 also diverges by the limit comparison test. Always say which test you used. Okay, good. Let's look at another. Next example here. We've got the sum, n equals 1 to infinity, negative 1 to the n squared minus 1 over n cubed plus 1. So terms are the same as the previous example, it's just this one's alternating now. So most likely you're going to want to use alternating series test. When would I not use it? If I saw some factorials, or if I saw things being raised to the n, then maybe I would opt for ratio or root test instead. But it's looking like AST is going to be the way to go. If I tried ratio or root test, it looks like it would probably come out inconclusive because I'd just get 1. Okay, so I'm going to opt for AST. So first, make sure you define things properly. Bn are the terms without the alternating part. So Bn is n squared minus 1 over n cubed plus 1. And remember, there's two things we need to show when we use AST. First one is, are the terms decreasing? Is Bn decreasing? Well, it's a little hard to show an inequality. One way to do it is to show that Bn plus 1 is less than or equal to Bn. But if I add n plus 1, where I see n, both the numerator and denominator are going to get larger, so it's not going to be a nice inequality to show. Instead, let's just try to see if the derivative is negative. That's equivalent to showing something's decreasing. But this isn't even a function. It's not differentiable. So we have to be proper here. And I'm going to say, all right, let f of x equal x squared minus 1 over x cubed plus 1. So now let's take the derivative and see if we can show that it's negative, and then we'll have shown that the terms are decreasing. So quotient rule time. Low d high minus high d low, derivative of denominator, 3x squared over low x cubed plus 1 squared. And then let's clean this up. So in the numerator, I'll distribute 2x, so crooked, okay, 2x to the 4th plus 2x minus 3x to the 4th, and this is going to become plus 3x squared over x cubed plus 1 squared. And then I can combine some like terms. So in the numerator, we've got negative x to the 4th plus 3x squared plus 2x over x cubed plus 1 squared. And let me factor out a negative x from the numerator. And then we're going to be left with x cubed minus 3x minus 2 over x cubed plus 1 squared. Okay, I know the denominator is always positive because we've got x cubed plus 1 squared. That's always positive. Remember, the x values that we're going to be substituting in correspond with what values n takes on in this sum. So the smallest thing we would plug in is 1. Why am I interested in that? Okay, so this is always going to be negative right here. So the question is x cubed minus 3x minus 2 always positive? Well, let's see. If I substitute in 1, that's 1 cubed minus 3 minus 2. So that's 1 minus 5. That's negative 4. No, that's negative. But what if x is 2? 2 cubed minus 6 minus 2, that's 8 minus 8, that's 0. And then if x is 3, now that's 3 cubed minus 9 minus 2, now that's positive. So from here on out, any other larger values I plug in for x, that quantity will be positive. And that's good enough for our purposes because basically I can say that this derivative, right, Negative times a positive divided by a positive. Look here, this is negative, this is positive as long as x is greater than or equal to 3. And this is positive. Overall, this is going to be negative. And you can say for all x greater than or equal to 3. What does that mean? That the terms are eventually decreasing, which is fine for us. That's good enough. We'll take it. So the terms are eventually, we don't care if 2 terms are not decreasing. We're good. And then second condition that we need to check is that the limit as n goes to infinity of bn equals 0. So let's check. What is the limit as n approaches infinity of n squared minus 1 over n cubed plus 1? To compute this limit, let's divide top and bottom by highest power of n in the denominator, which is n cubed. So let's see, now we've got the limit. N approaches infinity. In the numerator, if I distribute 1 over n cubed, I'm going to have 1 over n minus 1 over n cubed. And then in the denominator, we're going to have 1 plus 1 over n cubed. So yeah, 1 over n will go to 0. 1 over n cubed will go to 0. So I'm just left with a 0 in the numerator and a 1, thankfully, in the denominator. 0 divided by 1 is 0. So yay, both conditions for AST are satisfied. Okay, so then you can say that means the sum, n equals 1 to infinity, of negative 1 to the n squared minus 1 over n cubed plus 1 converges by the alternating series test. All right, how was that? Did you like it? Good, I hope so. Okay, let's move on to another example. Example number 3. We've got the sum, n equals 1 to infinity, e to the n over n squared. So before I jump in, I want you to notice something. An exponential function always grows faster than any polynomial. Why do I mention that? Because that means the numerator is growing faster than the denominator. So the terms here most likely won't even pass the test for divergence. The limit as n goes to infinity will not be 0. And this might not be the easiest limit to take, e to the n over n squared, because you have infinity over infinity. So we can't do L'Hopital's rule the way it's written right now. We can say consider a function of the form e to the x over x squared. And then if you want the limit as x goes to infinity of e to the x over x squared, now we can use L'Hopital's rule. So we've got the limit x goes to infinity, derivative of the numerator, derivative of e to the x is just e to the x, and then derivative of x squared is 2x. We still have infinity over infinity, but we can apply L'Hopital's rule one more time. So this is the limit, x goes to infinity, e to the x over 2. And then now this limit's just infinity over 2, which is infinity. So what does that tell me? That the terms of the series go to infinity, and infinity is not 0. Therefore, there's no way, there's no chance that if I add up these terms, I'm going to get anything that approaches a finite number. So you could say that the original series diverges by, what did we do? The test for divergence. The test for divergence, think of the name, it can only be used to show that a series diverges. If the terms don't go to 0, it will not converge. Think about it too. Remember our good friend the harmonic series? The terms of that series go to 0. The limit as n approaches infinity of 1 over n is 0, but it's just not getting there fast enough. So that's why the sum diverges. So if you have another series where the terms aren't even going to 0, these aren't even going to 0, there's no point in even trying to sit there and add them up and see what happens. So that's one option, test for divergence. Maybe you're like, I don't like that test. You got to really get over it. But is there another way to have done this? Yes, certainly. An alternate solution would be you could do the ratio test, okay? So if you instead want to look at the limit as n approaches infinity, absolute value of a sub n plus 1 over a sub n, you'd have the limit n approaches infinity. A sub n plus 1 would be e to the n plus 1 over n plus 1 squared over a sub n, it's e to the n over n squared. You have absolute value of all of this. Nothing's going to be negative in there, so I'm not going to keep the absolute value bars anymore. So we've got limit n goes to infinity. This n squared is going to come up to the top. E to the n is going to go to the denominator there. So now we're going to have n squared times e to the n plus 1 over n plus 1 squared times e to the n. So snazzy. And then what can we do here? So this is the limit. N approaches infinity. N squared times e to the n times e over, I'm just going to multiply this out, n squared plus 2n plus 1 times e to the n. Notice something? Yes, e to the n cancels out. This e is just a constant. If I want, I can take it out of my limit, so I can just kind of focus on what's going on here. So this is the limit, n approaches infinity. Oh, I said I was taking it out, huh? Let's do it then. E times. And then we've got n squared over n squared plus 2n plus 1. To evaluate this limit, I'm going to divide by the highest power of n in the denominator, which is n squared. Okay. And then we've got now e times the limit n approaches infinity, 1 over 1 plus 2 over n plus 1 over n squared. All right, and then now we're home free. These two terms go to 0 in the denominator. All I'm left with is e times 1 over 1, which is e. And remember, we did the ratio test. So what do we care about this limit? We care whether it's bigger or smaller than 1. Remember, if we get 1, then the ratio test is inconclusive. E is about 2.71, so that's definitely bigger than 1. So what does that tell me? That tells me that the sum, n equals 1 to infinity, of e to the n over n squared diverges by the ratio test. Okay, so that's two ways to do the same problem. Up to you, whatever you like better. So that concludes this video here. I just wanted to keep it short and sweet. If you would like to see a part 2, part 3, where we just determine whether an infinite series is convergent or divergent, leave a comment below. I'm happy to take requests, especially if you're one of my patrons. So I'll have the link in my description about joining my Patreon, where you get access to exclusive content and other perks like choosing video topics. Also, subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up. It really helps support my channel and get it out there so that more students around the world can benefit from seeing my videos. And if you're just interested in what else I'm up to, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at MathTV with Professor V. So I hope everyone has a great day, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!